Hey everybody, thanks for joining the office hours today. Today I would like to cover the EventStream service, talk a little bit about how to set up the video streaming, and then also talk about how to use the live auction system in a hybrid event and the paddle raise in a hybrid event as well. So let's dig into this and get started. You'll see here that I'm on my landing page. And to take a look at the EventStream service, you have to activate it first in your software settings account status. If it's activated there, then you will see a new link underneath the Event Central tab called Live Broadcast. I'm going to go ahead and click on that. We'll talk first about the streaming, and then we'll talk about the live auction and live appeal. So when you go to the live broadcast page, we broke the page down into three sections. The first section is the video privacy. And the second section is weekly office hours. Third section is how do you plan to send video to your EventStream channel? Excuse me. So in the first section here, privacy, we know that our recommendation is that you open the auction early. So let's say the event is this coming Saturday, and let's say that today is Monday. So I might open my auction today for everybody to bid, but I don't actually have a tech rehearsal until maybe Wednesday or Friday, or even a couple hours before the event. So I want to be able to try out the broadcast so that a few people can see it, but not everybody. So what you would do is filter on bidders, and then you would type in bidder numbers separated by a comma for only those people that should see the broadcast when you go live. You can also filter on tables so that if you create a table called, for instance, VIP, maybe you sold tickets to the event and there's a VIP screening of a new commercial or you have a guest speaker that you want people to actually pay an additional ticket price for. You could add them to that specific table and then put that table assignment in here as well. That way anybody who's assigned to that table can watch the program. The most common, of course, is to make it public. That means that when you launch the broadcast, everybody can see it. The nice thing about public, obviously, as well, in addition to people seeing it, everybody seeing it, is when you use the public viewer link, so just the link directly to the broadcast, it's active. If you're using any of these filters, any kind of shared link that you put on your site, on the landing page, or anything like that is not viewable because we're filtering and we want to make sure that only these bidders can see it. The second section here is weekly office hours. This is where you can sign up for our office hours. And then you can also go on our YouTube channel. You can watch old broadcasts that might be more specific to certain things that we've done in the past. Probably the most important section that you're going to spend your time on this page is the how do you plan to send video to your EventStream channel. This is deliberately asked this way because we want you to understand that your EventStream is a channel. It's not content. It's a channel that you can broadcast anything you want, kind of like CNN or Discovery Network. Those are channels, and then they decide what programming to put on it, so that you have that choice as well. Not only what programming, but how you choose to put that material out to people. When you're using EventStream, the beauty of it is that people can see the video right inside their bidding app, so that they don't have to log into another site, they don't have to open a new tab, they don't have to use another device. They certainly can if they want to show it full screen on a television or a laptop and then bid from their phone, but they can do the whole thing from their phone, watch the stream and bid on the live auction as well. But it all just depends on how you want that content to get to your bidding site. OBS software here, the first tab that we have chosen is probably the most popular because the customized version of this software that we have access to allows us to stream video with a guaranteed delivery of 500 milliseconds. Meaning when you hit start, people see the auctioneer or the host or the program less than half a second from when we put it out onto the website. The reason we do this is so that an auctioneer can say, do I see 500? Do I see 600? Do I see 700? People at home will hear him say that or her say that as fast as they're saying it. So that way they don't have to wait 20 seconds or 30 seconds or 10 seconds for that information to get across the web for people to see it at home. Especially when you're doing a hybrid event where you have 200-300 people in a room, you have 50, 80, 100 people at home, everybody is seeing the same thing at the same time, and that's really, really important. So you would download the software here, and then you would open it up and use these credentials, which I'll show you how to do in just a second. That way you can build your program just like a PowerPoint presentation and just broadcast it. One of the great things that you can do when we are back into the ballroom is that you already have an AV company that's setting up what's usually like projection screens. So let's say the doors open at 6 p.m. There's a check-in, there's a VIP reception, open bar, and then there's a dinner program, and then the actual speaking program starts at 7:15. When the speaking program starts is when you can start your live broadcast, because people at home don't necessarily want to watch other people mingling and eating dinner. So you would tell them, hey, tune in at 7:15, log into your bid site. We'll automatically start broadcasting the main program so that you can watch, participate in the live auction, participate in the silent auction, and enjoy the whole experience even though you can't be in attendance. What we're finding is, even in the best of times, people can't be at your event, but they're still willing to make donations. All of the data overwhelmingly that we've collected over COVID is that people are still giving as much, and in some cases more, during these hard times to help charities. And so you do not want to miss out on that. So making sure this is available is key so that people can participate. And it makes your life easier if you're taking advantage of the program that you already made and you're broadcasting it. The AV company in the back of the ballroom can just make that connection for you and broadcast it out for everybody at home. The other option you have, and I always recommend this, is that on the Monday, we talked a minute ago about how people will open their auction a week early. I recommend highly, I can't say enough how important I think it is to open that week early and motivate people, reward people for logging in, placing bids, making donations the Monday or the Friday before the event, because it gives people a chance to use the software. They get acclimated and they're good to go when the program starts on Saturday. They don't have to learn something. The other thing that it does is it engages people. It gives people a chance to place bids and participate all week long, so that when you send some follow-up emails, some Facebook posts, some Instagram posts, people are already watching and participating. The best way to engage people on a Monday morning is to tell them over the weekend, hey, we're going to have a surprise announcement from our director of the foundation. They're going to go live at 9 a.m., log into your bid site, wait for that video to pop up, and they're going to show you a welcome live presentation. And all it is, I mean, there's no real high-tech anything involved. All I have to do is press web browser, open the broadcaster window, and press start on my computer, and I can talk right to my computer, just like I'm doing a Zoom call. The director of the organization can say, hey, everybody, I just wanted to welcome you to our silent auction. We're going to lead up to the event on Saturday. We're so excited to have you here. The money that we're raising this week is so important to our foundation because A, B, C, D, E, everything you give goes directly to helping the people in need that we're providing support for. In fact, any of you who place a bid today, or any of you that make a donation today on our kickoff day, will be automatically entered into a giveaway door prize that we will be giving out to you later this week. Every time you place a bid or any time you make a donation, you're entered in as another chance to participate and to win in the auction. So don't miss out. Get those bids in starting now. We look forward to seeing you on Saturday. Have a great week, everybody. That literally is all you would have to do in order for people to get in, start bidding, and again, get them acclimated so that they're comfortable with the software, because our goal on Saturday is to get people in the door, very little check-in necessary, get them participating in the event and not having to ask a ton of questions about what site do I go to, how do I do this, and so on. It's all taken care of because you've been working on it all week long. That's how you would use the web browser broadcasting. Again, it's crazy simple. You don't have to have any software, connect anything. You just click on the open broadcaster, hit start, and boom, you're going to be broadcasting. Now, for the Saturday program, I've downloaded my OBS software and I want to plug in my program and get it broadcasting. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my OBS account that I've downloaded, and that is this program right here. So I've downloaded it and I need to get this version of OBS connected to my ClickBid account. There's a million places you can stream your video online, and we want to make sure it goes to the right place. So I click on Settings in OBS, and then I click on Stream, and it asks me for a stream name and a publishing token. Now, as luck would have it, I click on Copy in my stream name, and then I'm going to get rid of that, paste. I'm going to go to Publishing Token, I'm going to copy that, and I'm going to paste. That way, I have my credentials locked in, and again, it's like putting a letter in an envelope, putting an address on it, and sticking it in your mailbox to get picked up. Without that address, the postal service doesn't know where to send it. So just like sending this video out to the internet, we need to put an address on it, and that's what this is. I'm also going to choose the H264, and then I'm going to press Output. I want to make sure that when this is going out to the web, it's going out in a high enough quality that everybody can enjoy it, much like they would enjoy a Netflix movie or a YouTube video or Hulu program. It's going to ask me for a video bitrate. This is going to say how fast or how much data am I sending out to the internet. The higher this number, the better the quality that you're sending out to the internet. But you do need to be careful. You don't want this to get so high that your internet, wherever you're broadcasting from, can't handle it. Anything between 3,000 and 5,000 is going to look pretty good. 5,000 is a great rate, that high definition rate. It's kind of in that Netflix range, is the 5,000. I've personally gone as high as 6,000, but in that case, you really want to make sure you have good, maybe commercial grade internet. If you're using a service like Verizon or Frontier or Charter, then you probably want to stay between 3,000 and 5,000 kilobytes per second. And that's it. Just press OK. And now all you need to do is press Start Streaming. So what I'm going to do before I press Start Streaming is I'm going to open a new tab, and I'm going to go to my bidding site, which is pretty boring right now. And then I'm going to log in as a bidder, and press Next. So I'm just picking somebody, Terry Anderson. This is bidder 105. Now remember, I have to make sure that 105 is in my filter because I'm filtering on bidders, and it is not. So I want to make sure to type in 105 comma so that bidder 105 is in my list. It automatically saves for me. So now if I go back here, I just have a couple of items for sale today, and then I'm going to press Start Streaming. And I'm just going to do, let's do raffle winner. So I'm just going to hit start streaming, and then I'm going to wait for a second. And remember, I'm not clicking anything in my page here. I'm just going to go ahead and wait for it. And then what's going to happen if I hit refresh, because I added my bidder number, so 1 second, it is going to, there it is. It's going to detect my broadcast, and now I can hit play here, and it says congrats Parker Williams. Now, two things to note. One, I did have to hit refresh because I added my number to the private list, so I needed to refresh my page. The second thing is you'll notice is if I hit refresh, and this is if I were just sitting on this page, I clicked nothing, it's going to automatically pop that up, but notice it's not playing. Now, the reason it's not playing, I have to hit play. The reason it's not playing is because I need to interact with the page. This is a security setting in all of the modern browsers, Chrome, Firefox, Safari, Internet Explorer. If you're not interacting with this page, the browsers will not start a video with sound. The reason is so that you don't have, if you have 37 tabs open on your browser, one of them happens to be, ESPN or something, and an ad pops up in the background and it starts playing, that would be terrible because you could have 37 different sources of audio just randomly playing if Chrome didn't try to step in and control that somehow. So it's something that all the browsers do. But notice if I am interacting with the page, let's say I look at, donate, I'm not going to do that right now. I'm looking at the menu, and now I've interacted. Notice it did automatically start playing. I would say 80 to 90% of the time, this is going to start up and play automatically because people are doing things on the site. and so it's going to let it play automatically. Now you'll notice here that it's just playing a loop in my OBS. What I want to do is jump back to OBS, and I'm going to hit stop. I want to talk a little bit about how I set this up. The way that I use OBS, the way I think of it, is a lot like PowerPoint. It's kind of a moving PowerPoint. Over here on the left-hand side, you can see all of the scenes that I created. Those are what I would call slides. I have a countdown slide, I have an opening video, I have a board intro video. I'm going to bring in a Zoom call from another computer. This is an actual event that we're going to be broadcasting for an organization. We provide the broadcasting service so that we'll build your OBS program, and then we'll actually broadcast it for you as an added benefit or an added service. This was really popular during COVID when organizations were trying to figure out how to move forward with virtual events. We provided this to help out. And then I'm going to go to a highlight video, an award video, and so on. And so what I do here is I create these. I'm going to click a plus button and I'm going to say new video, and it creates a new slide, as I call it. OBS calls them a scene, but I'm thinking PowerPoint. And then inside this scene or slide, I need to add something because it's blank right now. There's nothing there. So I can add, under this plus button, I can add a browser. Let's just add a browser. Okay. So, well, before I do that, I get a little excited and ahead of myself. I can add a browser, a color background, an image slideshow, a media source, which would be an actual movie. If somebody made a movie or an edited video that we wanted to play, we could add a video capture device. This is what I would use in that hybrid scenario I was talking about, meaning the AV team is sitting over here to my right. They've got all this stuff going. They're pulling in different sources, the camera that's in the rooms, a pre-made video, maybe a PowerPoint slide. They can give me a single video cable. I plug it into my laptop, and now I can capture that audio and video and just broadcast it out to the web. So I would only have one scene and one source, and that's it. Everything's just, I'm just basically a distribution computer. That's it, sending it out. I can also connect a web camera through video capture device and so on. So what I'm going to do just for this demo is I'm going to add a new browser, and I'm going to hit OK. And then I'm going to type in https cbo.io, and then instead of it being 800 by 600, I'm going to do 1280 by 720. And then it makes it this big, loads our corporate website. I'm just going to click and drag it, make it a little bit bigger. Just like in PowerPoint, I can actually drag my scenes, or I'm sorry, my sources. I can just make them bigger, make them smaller. Let's say I wanted to add some text, and let's just add a text element, and we'll just do hi there, and I'll make it so that you can see it. Let's make it black. And now you can see that. So I'll just move that around. We can put that down here and so on. You can see here now that I have a new scene, and I can jump to it just like I jump to any other PowerPoint slide. So once I start streaming, all I have to do is work my way down this list during the program. When I have my cues, usually you have a show flow, and then boom, right through it. Now, let's say part of the program is going to be a live auction. So the auctioneer is going to get up and they're going to do, 3 live items. And I want to be able to let everybody at home participate. So we're going to put aside the OBS for now, and we're going to go back to ClickBid. And then we're going to go to Items, Manage Items. Then I'm going to create a new item, and I'm going to call it Sample Live Item. Any name I want. I'm going to set the status to active. I'm going to set the closing time to sometime in the future. Doesn't matter when, as long as it's in the future, and usually after the auction closes. The reason is we're going to open and close this item automatically when we do the live auction. So right now the closing time doesn't really matter. What is important and what does matter is that we choose live as an item type, and then we come over here and we switch allow live bids to yes. That means we're going to allow bids to happen from home, from a hotel, from an airport, from a cab ride. We're going to allow bids to happen from anybody who's logged in to bid. We're going to set a starting bid, and I recommend that you work with your auctioneer so that they know what you're setting as the starting bid. Auctioneers are very familiar with best practices on where to start a live item, meaning if an auctioneer knows that this item's value is $5,000, they may say start it at $3,500, or they may say start it at $2,500. They'll tell you what they want to start it at, and they'll also tell you what they want it to go up in increment. So they're going to say $2,500, and we're going to do $250 increments. The reason that's important is because once the auction starts going, you want to have as little amount of changes as possible. The auctioneer will weigh in on what the starting bid is. So what I recommend is take a piece of paper, write down the names of the items that you want to auction, put down the fair market value, and then ask the auctioneer, where would you start and how much would you go up every time somebody places a bid? Come back in here and edit those. And that's it. So now I can go ahead and complete and go back. And if I look at my Manage Items page, I can see here I have a sample live item, and it's got a tag called EventStream. That's there because I said allow live bids, yes. And then signed guitar was one I already created, and that is also EventStream. You can always filter, assuming you have more items than just 4. The average auction, I think, has about 85 items in our system. So more than one page. So you can do that. You can filter by a tag. You can also filter by type. So let's do live. I can see all my live items. And all right, so we're good to go. Now we're going to fast forward. It's event night. We're getting ready to do the live auction. So I have somebody in the ballroom. I have somebody running that OBS computer, and really all they did was hit start streaming, and it's broadcasting whatever is in the room, whatever is being broadcast in the room, which will ultimately be a video camera pointed at the auctioneer so that everybody at home can see the auctioneer just like everybody in the room can see the auctioneer. So you're going to take one more volunteer or one of the auctioneer's spotters that they have, that they typically bring with them. They usually have those little light up kind of airport taxi cones that they light up, and you can kind of wave them around so that the auctioneer can see them. You're going to take a volunteer, you're going to give them a laptop and one of those cones, and then they are going to sit somewhere in the room that they can hear really well and that the auctioneer can see them. Then that person, once they're seated, is going to go to Butler, and then they're going to go to this EventStream section and click on Manage Your EventStream, and they're going to press yes, not yes X, they're going to press yes. This page is something that we only want one person using at a time, because this is something you're going to control in real time. That person with the cone or with the little light stick and the laptop, they're listening for the auctioneer, and they're controlling these items so that everybody at home gets to participate just like everybody in the room. And remember, everybody in the room has a bidder paddle, so they're good to go, and now everybody at home is good to go because they'll be able to bid on their phone. So in order to make this a little easier, I'm going to slide this way, that way. Then I'm going to slide this over here, so that way you can see on one side of my screen, you can see the bidding site. On the other side of the screen, you can see what that volunteer sees. We do have a confidence display that you can email or text to your auctioneer. What this does is it gives them a view-only version of this page so that they can see the bids coming in and the donations coming in real time. This can be really helpful. Now, in a hybrid event, my experience is to let the auctioneer do their auctioneer thing, and then your volunteer is going to handle the technology. That way, the auctioneer is basically just looking for paddles in the room like they've been doing for the last 25 years. So we get to the auction. The auctioneer says, all right, let's get this going. First item up for bid, signed guitar. Now notice, as the volunteer, I just went ahead and pressed signed guitar. And then now I'm going to press that, and it's going to open it up, and it's going to give me some details. Next bid is $1,000. Starting bid is $1,000. Minimum bid is $250. Those are the values that I put in there. The auctioneer is going to talk it up. Folks, if you're bidding from home, you're going to see a bid live button. Just go ahead and press that button and we're going to let you bid in just a second. And then they're going to talk about the auction item. Now over here, you'll notice that I have a bid live button that just popped up. If I press that, you can see that I can now see the signed guitar, but I can't bid yet. And that's because the auctioneer is still talking it up. We don't want bids to start flying in while the auctioneer is kind of hyping it up. We're waiting for the auctioneer to say, okay, who's going to give me $1,000 to get this thing going? And they're going to do their fast talking auctioneering. The volunteer waits for that cue and then presses start. Now, you'll notice everybody at home gets a bid button. Everybody in the room is going to be able to raise a paddle. So let's say somebody in the room, boom, puts their paddle up in the air. The auctioneer says, okay, we got $1,000, folks. The volunteer hears that and clicks submit. That's called a floor bid. That's what happened in the room. That happened on the floor. So the volunteer is keeping that bid coming in, and the auctioneer now says, all right, we got $1,250, folks, $1,250. Who's going to give me $1,250? We got $1,250 going once. And then somebody at home says, oh, I'll do that, $1,250. And then I'm sitting here as the volunteer, and I see that green flash, and it says, Terry Anderson. Remember, I have that stick. Put that in the air. Boom. Auctioneer sees that go in the air and says, oh, we got an internet bid, folks, $1,250, $1,250, next bid, $1,500. And then somebody else in the room puts their paddle in the air, $1,500, and I click submit. So that means that as the volunteer, I'm representing people bidding at home with my wand that I put in the air, but I'm also representing people in the room to everyone at home. Because if somebody bids $1,500, 10 feet away from me, I need to let everybody else at home know, yeah, okay, now that $1,500 bid is no longer available. It's now $1,750. Just like everybody in the room has to bid $1,750. So at home, I'm like, all right, $1,750, and now $1,750, I put my wand in the air. Auctioneers, oh, we got $1,750 in the internet. Okay, you're out. You're still in at $2,000? Yep, they bid $2,000 and I place a floor bid. And then the auctioneer says, okay, internet bidder, you are out. You are out right now. We've got a bid here in the room, $2,000, $2,000. Do I hear $2,250, $2,250? Now let's say the auctioneer wants to jump from $2,250 to $2,500. I'm just going to press the $250 button, and now my next increment is $200 or $500 instead of $250. And again, at home, I have to represent the room for everybody bidding at home, and I have to represent everybody bidding at home to the auctioneer. So as that volunteer sitting at the table, you have a pretty important job. So the auctioneer says, okay, $2,000, do I see $2,500? Person at home says, yep, I'm in. And then that comes in, I put my cone in the air. Auctioneer says, we have a bid, $2,500. We get to the end, the auctioneer says, going once, going twice, and sold. $2,500 to the internet. Thank you so much. We're moving on to sample live item. At home, I see here, I won the item. If I didn't win the item, I'd see a frowny face. I didn't win the item. Auctioneer says, all right, next item up for bid, sample live item. And you know how auctioneers are. They're cruising along, doing their thing, and they don't waste any time. So I go ahead, notice that my guitar, signed guitar, went away. And now I'm on to the sample live item. So I just clicked on sample live item, brings up the first bid is $2,500, and everybody at home gets sample live item. Now, there's no details. Normally we recommend put a photo in there, put some details so that anybody at home, while the auctioneer is talking up the item, can talk about it. Now you'll notice if I go back to OBS and I hit, let's go to that raffle winner. If I were, again, just sending everything out to everybody, what would happen is I would see, I just went ahead and started streaming again. At home, what everybody would see is they would see this bidding box, but they would also see, I'm going to go live, move my video over to the center, and then I'm going to bid live, and now I would be watching everything that's happening in the room. This computer right here represents everything that's happening in the room, and at home I see that everybody is, I see the auctioneer, I see maybe a little bit of the guests in their tables and so on. So I'm participating at home as if I were the camera in the room. I can see what the camera sees, so I can see the auctioneer. And I watch the auctioneer telling me about the item, I'm really excited to bid on it. And the auctioneer says, all right, let's start the bidding, $2,500. As the volunteer running that bidding screen, I press start. I've got my cone with the light on it ready to go, and he says, okay, we've got a bid, 2,500, 2,750. Yep, I see 2,750. Oh, I see 3,000. Oh, I see 30. Do I see 3,250? Yep, I see 3,250. So you can go really fast. The auctioneer doesn't have to go, you know, slow for you. They can go fast. And in fact, if somebody at home bids 3,500, I put my paddle in the air just like as if I were bidding. I put my paddle in the air. Auctioneer says, is that 3,500? I shake my head, yes, 3,500. All right, 3,500. Do I see 30? Yes, I see 3,750. Okay, 4,000. Okay, so I'm back in at home. So you can see how fast this can get going. And now somebody else placed 4,250. And so now, outbid. I got to bid 4,500. I'm in this thing. Now somebody's going to bid 4,750. And now I'm 40. Now I'm out. And I'm like, you know what? So I'm at home on my couch or wherever, and I'm like, nah, I'm not doing this. I can't. I'm not going to do $5,000. So I'm out. Auctioneer says, okay, 47.50, going once, going twice, and sold. And I press sell. Notice, takes my button away, which is important because we don't want people bidding after the auctioneer says sold. Now, if for whatever reason the auctioneer said sold and a bid slipped in, I could, as that volunteer, reopen the item. So I just press reopen, brings the item back, and makes it available for bidding right away. I just press start, and now it's going to bring me my button back so that in case the auctioneer says, oh, we had a last second bid, are we still in this thing? Who wants to bid from home? And then if they do, they can bid 5,000. Yeah, fine, I'll do it, 5,000. Terry, oh, we got internet bidder back in the game. Okay, then another floor bid, and we're back to where we were. I'm forget it. I'm not doing this. I can't swing the 5,500, and sold. And now we did sell it at 5,250. But the nice thing is we got a little extra money. All right, folks, we've come to that point of the night where we want everybody to participate in the silent or the fund a need, the fund a cause. We want everybody to get your paddles ready. We're going to put those paddles in the air, and we are excited to see this. To see how many people. We need everybody to participate. Now, for this demo, I got a little bit ahead of myself. I want to go back to items, manage items, and I want to go to my fund a cause. I notice here that I want to add some denominations. Typically, an auctioneer will say, I have 4 or 5 denominations that I want to go through. I want to start out at 2,500. So I'm going to ask people to give 2,500. Then I'm going to drop all the way down to 1,000. And then I'm going to drop down to 500, 250, 100, and then 50. Okay. And interestingly, you see these buttons popping up all of a sudden, right? Again, everything's dynamic. So we've preset these. Usually I would set this up maybe the day before, or even earlier in the evening, so that way the auctioneer knows. It's really important. Again, this is all about planning. Just because we're doing things on the web doesn't mean we don't have to plan. So making sure that the auctioneer knows what the increments are is really, really important. So I'm going to go ahead and go back to my Butler screen, and I'm going to turn off these items. Now, what I did in my manage your event stream page, as that volunteer, remember I was holding my cone in the air? I clicked on donation items, and then I clicked on fund a cause. And it brings up all of the people who gave or will give, and it shows the increments that were pre-established. The one in blue is the one that's active, as you can see here. Now, what you may have noticed was that all of this just happened. There wasn't any clicking that I had to do to make these things come up. I would say 9 out of 10 events, the auctioneer goes right into the fund a need immediately following the live auction. And so we wanted to have the system do that for you. If I didn't have this open already from the live auction, all I have to do is press Give Live. This changes from Bid Live to Give Live. So as the auctioneer, you might say, all right, folks, we've come to that point of the event where we want everybody to participate. This will help the organization raise enough money to provide X, Y, and Z. On your phone, if you're going to give from home, there's a green Give Live button. If you don't already see the first increment listed on your screen, go ahead and press that Give Live button, and then you will see our first amount at $2,500. Folks, I need 5 people to give $2,500. Will you be that person to give $2,500? Yeah, that sounds good to me. I'll do $2,500, and it'll see right here, notice it says Terry Anderson, $2,500. Thank you, Terry Anderson, $2,500. This is amazing. And so I could have an appeal screen loaded up on the screen. I could have, the auctioneer using their confidence display shouting out, Terry Anderson, thank you so much, $2,500. You'll also remember that in previous events, before COVID, we've always had the Butler tool. I'm going to open this in a new tab. And we have this rapid fire add donations for bidders. I'm going to click on Fund a Cause. This could be another volunteer, and that volunteer could be adding donations as they see paddles going into the air. So for instance, somebody raises their paddle, thank you, number 104, and I type in 104, and it'll show total raised. It's going to change that number. If I missed, maybe it did already. It'll change that number to another $2,500, and then I see, okay, thank you, number 103, thank you, and then that another volunteer types 103, and so now I'm putting in increments in the room. I have a volunteer that's running this. This looks an awful lot like a piece of paper that people would write down really fast. You typically want somebody doing that as a backup or for, in case of emergency. But what we did when we designed this so that you could, on a laptop, type in 101 space, 102 space, 103 space, 104 space, as the auctioneer's calling them off. Thank you, number 105. Thank you, number 106. Thank you, number 107. And I'm putting all these donations in, all in order. You can see the number going up, and it's all of these people are now giving, and this automatically shows up in their checkout screen. So now 104, 3, 6, they can all check out for that donation. They don't have to wait for somebody to reconcile, figure it out, and then put it together. In addition, as I typed those in, it's showing those names for those $50 donations. So you can have people giving from home, and it's happening automatically. So I'm going to give, let's say we're down now, folks, let's do $1,000. So I change that to 1,000, and I press give 1,000, yes. And now my name's going to show up, Terry Anderson. And then we move down to 250, and then I'm going to give $250. Oh, that's great. Thank you, Terry. Man, you're all over it. $250. And when we get to the end, if there's a dollar amount that we didn't give, and you feel like that's the number you want to share with us tonight, you go ahead and type that dollar in and amount in, and go ahead and choose give, and we will add that to your total, and the organization will be so grateful. So I can put those in. And again, that spotter that had the little light stick is controlling all of this. And maybe you have another spotter, a volunteer, who's controlling this screen here. So they're putting in these $500 donations. So now I've got a $250 donation, and then it'll add to that total as well. So that is how I would run a hybrid event, allowing people to give from home. Again, we're seeing this in real time. Notice when I switch to a different source, watch here, I'm going to switch to another source, and look how fast that happens. If I go to the appeal, it switched. What's happening, even though this is the same computer, this stream is going out to the internet, and this is acting like my phone, and it's bringing it right back from the internet. So it is that fast for everybody. You can see if I go to new video, that's how fast I'm flicking over to the next scene, and it's giving me that information in real time. So you can see why we do this, so that people who want to give in the live auction in real time can do that. So that is my live auction streaming demo. Fun to need. I'm open for questions. Go ahead and ask them in the chat, and I will end my very long-winded discussion there. Thank you, everybody.